Hello, everyone. Sorry, welcome to everyone out there who's watching this live. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. As I say, this is the month of January, January the 24th. And the reason why I chose to do this live and cover Winston Churchill is his passing was on the 24th of January. Now, before I get into it, I just want to do what I normally do and greet the chat. So, hello there, sweetie. Thank you for coming. Always a pleasure. Here we go, Mr. Toro. Thank you for coming, sir. Appreciate it as always. Hey, Donna. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. You all good? Okay. So, now we've done that, I know more people will join us. I just want to now get to presenting this live, and I'll get right into it. So, here we go. I'm just going to share my screen. There we go. Okay. So, the early years of Winston Churchill. Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill was born on the 30th of November 1874 at Blenheim Palace. As you can see in this picture, it's the ancestral home of the Dukes of Marlborough. His father, second son of the 7th Duke of Marlborough, inherited neither title nor property. Winston grew up with social status, privilege, and a keen sense of heritage, but little money. In the custom of the day, he was raised by a nanny and sent to boarding schools. To say this was a lonely and hard life for a sensitive and imaginative child. Thank you, Donna. So, as we got Winston Leonard Churchill's ancestors were both British and American. Winston's father was the British Lord Randolph Churchill, the youngest son of John, the 7th Duke of Marlborough. Lord Randolph's ancestor, John Churchill, made history by winning many successful military campaigns for Europe for Queen Anne almost 200 years earlier. Now, his mum was the American Jenny Jerome. The Jeromes fought for the independence of the American colonies in George Washington's armies. Winston's father and mother were both socially active and politically prominent. Their affairs, social and intimate, occupied them constantly, as many of their social class and standing, child rearing and education were left to others. Lord Randolph Churchill's political career was meteoric. In 1886, at age 37, he was Chancellor of the Exchequer, the youngest to hold the office in over 100 years. In less than 6 months, he resigned from the cabinet over a matter of principle. His insistence on reducing defence spending, he never held high office again. One could not grow up in my father's house without understanding that there had been a great political disaster, said Winston. Winston revered his father as a great statesman. The feelings of respect and affection were not reciprocated. Lord Randolph frequently expressed harsh disappointment in Winston. Winston's mother, American heiress Jane Jerome, was by universal agreement a great beauty. She threw herself completely into the English upper class social world. While fond of her children, her social role with her husband always came first, sometimes to the point of not permitting Winston to come home from holidays or going on extensive travels without him. Winston adored her. She shone for me like the evening star. I loved her dearly, but at a distance. Hello, Joe Delamora. Thank you for coming, sir. Good to see you. Now, in this picture now, this is Winston himself as a young boy, and obviously there as a teenager. You can see him there. Now, Lady Randolph hired Mrs. Elizabeth Everest as a nanny to care for Winston. Winston fondly called Mrs. Everest Womany. Later, Winston Churchill would say that my nurse was my confidant. Miss Everest, it was who looked after me and tended all my wants. It was to her that I poured out all my troubles. Now, Winston formed his strongest childhood emotional attachment to his nanny, Mrs. Elizabeth Everhurst, and to her he poured out to many troubles. She was his constant companion in childhood, and they wrote to each other regularly while he was at school. Winston was deeply distressed when she left the household, even though he was a young man, a budding army officer, and the household had no further need for a nanny. Hey, how you doing, Toro? Winston smoked on long or stressful days, up to 12 to 15 cigars a day. He loved them. Couldn't get enough of the old cigars. So in 1895, within 6 months, first Winston's father, then Mrs. Everest died. Winston now faced the world without his idolised father, without his primary emotional support and mother figure. Winston's father had been in declining health and increasing dementia for several years, but his erratic behaviour and dissatisfaction with Winston remained robust. Winston was told the diagnosis, thought to be syphilis, and for many years believed that he too would die young. Is it 40 and finished? He pondered. Now, even in death, Winston's father remained a force to be reckoned with. All my dreams of my comradeship with him, of entering Parliament at his side in his support, were ended. There remained for me only to pursue his aims and vindicate his memory. When Winston learned that Mrs. Everest was gravely ill, he rushed to her bedside. He was the only member of his family to attend her, and upon her death provided the tombstone for her grave. She had been my dearest and most intimate friend during the whole 20 years that I had lived. I shall never know such a friend again. Now, Winston's education. Boarding school was the routine for boys of Winston's class, and he was packed off in 1881 at age 7, and he hated every minute of it. His first school, St. George's, was brutal. Flogging with the birch was a great feature in its curriculum. Of school, Winston would write, "It appears that I was to go away from home for many weeks at a stretch in order to do lessons under masters. After all, I was only 7, and I'd been so happy in my nursery with all my toys. I had such wonderful toys, a real steam engine, a magic lantern, and a collection of soldiers, already nearly 1,000 strong. Now it was to be all lessons." He lasted than a year, and then he withdrew for health reasons. He entered his second school in 1882, Brighton, which was more Bainin, and he finished his elementary education there. Winston enrolled at Harrow in 1888 with very poor entrance exam scores, effectively placing him at the bottom of the class. This was a humiliating position for a proud boy and an irritation to his father. Winston possessed a keen mind, but also a spirit not suited to school regimen. However, he excelled in subjects that appealed to him, English and history. He also showed athletic ability by winning the public school's fencing championship. Now, the school newspaper reported his success was chiefly due to his quick and dashing attack, which quite took his opponents by surprise. Winston's school days were deeply frustrating. Here we go. I hardly had ever been asked to learn anything which seemed to of the slightest use of interest, or allowed to play any game which was amusing. In retrospect, those years form from not only the least agreeable, but also the only barren and unhappy period of my life. Now, for a young gentleman of Winston's social class, only certain professionals were considered suitable. The university was the gatekeeper to all military, and Winston's poor performance at school closed the university's doors to him. Winston's lack of attention to studies nearly ending his military career before it began. He took 3 attempts to pass the entrance exams for the Royal Military College, Sandhurst, scoring just enough points to be admitted to the cavalry, but not the infantry. Lord Randolph had hoped for at least an infantry career for his son and was deeply disappointed. The cavalry became a source of both joy and tension for Winston. Riding became a passion, as he proved exceptionally good at it. However, since the British officer had to pay for his own uniform and horses, cavalry service taxed his family's financial resources. But at Sandhurst, Winston finally hit his stride, applying himself to subjects that interested him and earning good marks. Sandhurst's 18 months of practical studies concluded Winston's formal education as he graduated 20th out of 130. Hello there, Gerald. Good to see you, my man, Mr. Cicelli. Thank you for coming. Now, Churchill craved action with his mother's help. He worked every family connection to get posted, officially or unofficially, to any battlefronts. In my interest, she left no wire unpulled, no stone unturned, no cutlet uncooked. Churchill displayed conspicuous physical courage on the battlefield, and his vivid articles for British newspapers received wide notice. His overriding purpose in both seeking combat and writing articles was to establish his reputation for a political career. As he wrote to his mother, "It is a pushing age, and we must shove with the rest." Hey, how you doing, Gina? Thank you for coming. Good to see you. So, as we can see there, he's kind of gone through his school. He's lost his parents early. He lost his nanny, so he's kind of been sort of left to fend the world for himself. So we got so we're updated there. Okay. Now, from 1895 to 1900, Churchill supplemented his army pay by reporting on military campaigns. Winston's articles were well received and advanced both in his literary and political career. Winston was adept at wrangling his way to the front. In India, he appeared at the Northwest Frontier Command Post with assignment and was attached as a correspondent. In the Sudan, his reputation as a war correspondent nearly cut him out of the action. The commanding officer, General Sir Herbert Kitchener, was unenthusiastic about having Churchill along. Churchill's excellent political and personal connections, however, eventually prevailed as he duly joined the British expedition and was present at the Battle of Omdurman. Here we go. Hey, Donna. Donna's saying hello to everyone. In 1899, Churchill left the army to pursue a career as a writer and politician. Failing to win election, he travelled to South Africa as a correspondent, the highest paid at the time. He wrote to his mother, "I am very proud of the fact that there is not one person in a million who, at my age, who could have earned £10,000 without any capital in less than 2 years." Now, he was aged 25 at the time. Churchill turned his newspaper accounts into best-selling books, several of which are still in print. His reports from India became the story of the Malakand field force, while the accounts from Sudan appeared as the River War. His South African adventures were published as London to Ladysmith and Ian Hamilton's March. He also wrote a novel, Savonarola. Now, in Churchill's day, the life of the British cavalry officer in India was not hard duty. 7 months of active service consisted mostly of drills with ample time for polo, and 5 months of leave. If you like to be weighted and relieved the home worries, India was perfections. Princes could live no better than we. While in India, Winston became a championship caliber polo player and captain of the regimental team. Unlike his fellow officers, however, Winston took advantage of his spare time to embark on a rigorous program of self-education. He devoured major works and systematically studied parliamentary history. He read the published parliamentary debates, outlined the issues and arguments of the day, and developed his own positions. Thus, Churchill made up for his lack of university education and prepared himself for politics. Now, in 1899, Churchill took a job with the Morning Post reporting on the Boer War in South Africa. On his first assignment, the armoured train he was accompanying was ambushed and Winston organised of defence withdrawal. Captured, he claimed the correspondent status, but his actions landed him in Pretoria as a prisoner of war. 2 weeks later, Churchill scaled a wall and evaded recapture by travelling at night receiving help from local British supporters and stowing away on supply trains. With a dead or alive price on his head, he travelled 300 miles in 9 days to reach Portuguese East Africa, now Mozambique. Returning to South Africa, Churchill received a hero's welcome in Durban. His vivid accounts of his capture and escape were dramatised in the British press and secured his notoriety at home. The fame launched his political career and his public lecturer. Now, Churchill returned from the Boer War, a national hero, in October 1900 at age 25. Winston ran for political office. He narrowly defeated a Liberal candidate to win one of the 2 Conservative Party seats in Oldham, Lancashire, beginning a political career that would last for over 60 years. A character sketch in Vanity Fair remarked, "He can write, he can fight, he's ambitious, he means to get on, and he loves his country, but he can hardly be the slave of any party." Indeed, within 4 years, he would abandon the Conservatives for the Liberal Party and champion many causes of social and military reform. Now, Churchill's celebrity made him a popular speaker and an attractive candidate. 11 constituencies wanted him to represent them in Parliament, and many fellow politicians wanted to peer with him. Now, since members of the Parliament were not paid, Winston's writing and lecturing became a necessary source of income. He capitalised on his popularity with a speaking tour in Britain. In 1 month, November 1900, he gave 30 lectures, earning the equivalent of 5 years' income for a professional of his age. In December, Winston toured the United States and Canada, meeting with the heads of state, speaking on the Boer War. By the time Churchill took his seat in Parliament on the 14th of February 1901, his books, articles and lectures earned him over £10,000, a modest fortune at that time. And from this moment on, Winston lived his life in the public eye. Churchill entered Parliament a Conservative Party member, as his father before him. The Conservative Party, associated with the Church of England, the monarch and the established upper class, was generally resistant to social change. Most of Churchill's relations, social class and fellow army officers, identified with the Conservative Party. The Liberal Party, associated with the rising and professional classes, hoped to open British society through merit, education and social reform. Winston's father tried to get with something he called Tory democracy, but it was never a serious political option. Winston would go one better. Okay, right, Toro. Winston Churchill is most noticed for his leadership of Britain during the World War II and his ability to inspire people through powerful speeches at the time when defeat seemed possible. Absolutely. Winston became increasingly disenchanted with the Conservative Party, disagreeing with its attitudes of retribution and jingoism in the Boer War. So jingoism, sort of super patriotism, apparent lack of concern about poverty, outmoded thinking about the military, growing protectionism toward trade. Now, when the Conservative Party became irrevocably attached to the policy of protective tariffs in 1904, Churchill bolted. Now, on the 31st of May 1904, at 29, Churchill walked into the House of Commons chamber, bowed to the Speaker, and crossed the floor to the other side. He had joined the Liberals. It was a stunning event, but should not have been surprised. Winston had been associated with a group of young politicians, the hooligans, who were liberal imperialists. They believed in both a strong Britain and social reform. Sympathies more aligned with the Liberal Party, they would become the New Liberals. The Labour Party, the political embodiment of organised working class, was also gaining strength, and the New Liberals hoped social reform would blunt its political appeal. Churchill had perfect timing. The Conservative Party shortly fell from office and a period of Liberal Party dominance began. Churchill's move opened the door of ministerial office. It also earned him a reputation for opportunism, as well as the enmity and distrust of Conservatives for many years. Now, as we know, I'll just quickly run through this through for some of the audience. The monarch is the head of state, and the government acts in the name of the crown. While the crown has the power to dissolve parliament, its actual role is advisory. So the crown remains, however, the one constant in British politics. Parliament. Well, British Parliament consists of the House of Commons, the House of Lords. The House of Lords is the centre of the parliamentary power. Every member of the House of Commons stands for election in a local district. Political parties control the selection of candidates. The House of Lords, as we said, they are known as peers, consists of Lords Spiritual, which are senior bishops, and Lords Temporal, they lay peers, and Law Lords, senior judges, also sit as Lords Temporal. Members of the House of Lords are not elected. Originally, they were drawn from various groups of senior and influential nobility in Britain who advised the monarch throughout the country's early history. There you go. That last one's there for you, Toro. Now, beginning in the 20th century, the House of Lords has recognised the supremacy of the elected chamber. Now, unlike the United States, the British government is run by the political party in power. The party with an elected majority takes charge of government functions, and there are no national elections for Prime Minister. The leader of the majority party is invited by the monarch to form a government. The leader of the majority party then becomes the Prime Minister and selects cabinet members who are also elected members of Parliament. Now, general elections are held at least every 5 years. However, the incumbent Prime Minister may decide to call a general election earlier if he or she believes it may increase the party's majority. Between general elections, there are also by-election. A by-election is held to fill a seat made vacant by a death or resignation of a member. Churchill unsuccessfully ran for the seat of Oldham in a by-election before securing it in the general election that followed. Members of Parliament need not live in the district they represent. A member defeated in one district could immediately seek election in another. This practice is not uncommon, and Churchill used this to devise himself. Now, in 1904, Winston met Clementine Hozier at a party. He said nothing to her, and she was not impressed. 4 years later, they met again and found enough talk about to marry a year later. Like Winston, Clementine came from a good background, but had limited means. She was beautiful, bright, well-educated, liberal, and interested in politics. She was perhaps the first woman that Winston found who could personally and intellectually appreciate and share his world. Now, they were married at St. Margaret's, Westminster, the parish church of the House of Commons, on the 12th of September 1908. He was 33, she 10 years younger, thus begun one of the strongest political marriages in history. They wrote to each other constantly. Winston confided in her, and she never hesitated to give both support and forthright opinion when she felt he was wrong. Now, Churchill achieved his first ministerial post 10 days after his 31st birthday. In 1905, he was appointed Undersecretary of the State at the Colonial Office. Since the Secretary of State was a member of the House of Lords, Winston represented the Colonial Office in the Commons. This made him an unusually powerful junior minister. Winston's knowledge of South Africa, his familiarity with its leaders, and his empathy for the defeated adversary contributed to his drafting a new constitution for the Transvaal. It was one of the best early acts of statesmanship. Now, Churchill became a cabinet member at age 33. He was appointed at the Board of Trade in 1908. Winston immediately took the lead of a series of social reforms that would define the new Liberal Party. He became the party's principal spokesman, sometimes speaking in place of the Prime Minister. Not all of Winston's initiatives would be achieved in his tenure, but all were ultimately adopted. Now, this included limiting of mine working hours, labour exchanges, and an early type of unemployment office to help men find work. Unemployment insurance, sweet shops built to protect workers from exploitation, a war against poverty to establish old age pensions, standing court of arbitration to settle labour disputes. Now, World War One and its aftermath. When World War One erupted, Churchill threw himself into the operational details of the Royal Navy. One operation, the Dardanelles campaign, cost him his position and haunted him for many years. Forced to leave the Admiralty and give a token position, he resigned from government and rejoined the army, commanding the 6th Battalion, Royal Scots Fusiliers, in the trenches of France. Now, upon his return to Parliament, a new coalition government appointed Churchill head of the Munitions Office. After the war's end, Churchill moved into the dual roles of Secretary of State of War and Secretary of State of Air simultaneously. Now, 1914 to 1916, from June to January, less than a year after its outbreak in August 1914, the Great War produced a bloody stalemate for the British and French on the Western Front and serious setbacks for the Russians on the Eastern Front. Allied military officials needed solutions to this twofold problem. Invading the Gallipoli Peninsula, via the Dardanelles Strait, reinforcing Russia and knocking Turkey out of the war looked promising. Churchill did not invent the Dardanelles strategy. The idea, among others, had been discussed for some time. One alternative was a direct attack on northern Germany from the Baltic Sea that would relieve Russia and threaten the rear of the German Western Front. Churchill initially performed the northern option, but eventually he embraced the Dardanelles campaign and it became its champion. The campaign seemed made for the British forces. They had naval superiority and troops from Australia and New Zealand, yet not committed in France. But the operation failed for lack of proper coordination between the army and navy, and second guessing and hesitancy for the part of the commanders. Churchill later wrote, "The campaign of the Dardanelles had been starved and crippled at every stage by the continued opposition of the French and British high commands in France to the withdrawal of troops and munitions from the main theatre of war." Now, the Dardanelles failure was a crisis for the government, and while there were many fingerprints on the operation, Churchill took the blame. Asquith remained Prime Minister only by entering into a coalition with the Conservatives. The price the Conservatives demanded was Winston's head. He was forced out of the Admiralty and debacle pinned on him. "I am the victim of a political intrigue," Churchill bitterly remarked. "I am finished." Now, dismal from the Admiralty was a crushing blow to Churchill. Now, Clementine remarked, "I thought he would never get over the Dardanelles. I thought he would die of grief." Churchill accepted an obscure cabinet post on formal duties, the Chancellor of the Duty of Lancaster, hoping he could still influence policy, but he found, "I was out of harmony with my views which were prevailing. I knew too much and I felt too nearly to be able to accept cabinet responsibility for what I believe to be wholly erroneous concepts of the war. I therefore, in the middle of November 1915, sought permission to retire from the government." Winston then asked to be posted to the fighting in France. Thank you, Toro. Now, in November 1915, Churchill arrived in France. He expected to be given a brigade and brigadier general's rank, but Prime Minister Asquith vetoed any high command. Instead, Winston was given command of a battalion, the 6th Royal Scots Fusiliers, with the rank of lieutenant colonel. The battalion viewed sceptically a failed politician as a commander, but Winston's personality, military experience and knowledge overcame their reservations. Winston led by example, often venturing into no man's land on night patrol. One companion relayed, "He never fell when a shell went off. He never ducked when a bullet went past with its loud crack. He used to say after watching me duck, It's no damn use ducking. The bullet has gone a long way past you by now. Churchill grew frustrated as the consequences of the governmental policies he had opposed played out before his eyes in France. After 6 months, when his casually depleted battalion was merged with another unit, Churchill returned to the fray in Parliament. Now, where no man's land, okay, that the area between the opposing trenches buried in width from just 50 yards to half a mile and looked like a lunar landscape. Artillery barrages created the land and blasted all vegetation. Bombardments were intense and so concentrated that shrapnel was still ploughed up each spring by local farmers. No one dared to venture into no man's land unless during an attack during the day, and peering over the top of the trenches could attract a sniper's bullet. The periscope was the only safe method to view the area. Nighttime was different. Patrols crept about probing enemy defences, repairing barbed wire fences, or recovering dead and wounded. Listening posts were manned to give warning of enemy movement. Flares briefly eliminated the scene, trying to catch enemy patrols and bring them under fire. Here we go. He once said a woman accused him of being drunk. I'll be sober in the morning, but madam will still be ugly. Now, the trenches epitomised the Great War in the West. There were frontline trenches backed by support trenches. Trenches for reserve troops were further but still communicating trenches. Like all trenches, were used to bring supplies and reinforcements forward. Trenches were built for protection, but were not necessary places of safety. Artillery and gunfire caused 1/3 of the casualties suffered in trenches, but many other dangers lurked in the trenches, including rats, lice, and disease. No worries, Bambi. Thank you for coming. Rats grew cat-sized feeding on corpses. Lice carried trench fever. Constant damp produced trench foot that could lead to gangrene and amputation. Then there was a smell of rotting flesh, stagnant water, overflowing latrines, unwashed bodies, gunpowder, cigarette smoke, and moulding sandbags. The stench of death, overcrowding, poor sanitation, and disease. Churchill impressed his men with tough but fair discipline and attention to their living conditions. One officer reported to see Winston giving a dissertation of laying of sandbags, rendered you certain that Wren would have been proud to sit at his feet. Now, World War I introduced innovations that would transform warfare to two inventions, the aeroplane and the tank. While realised their full potential only in later wars, however, Churchill envisioned their wider application was an earlier and consistent champion of both. Beginning in his days of the Admiralty, Winston promoted and developed the use of aircraft, which saw tremendous technical advances during 4 years of war. From observation craft aeroplanes developed in specialised fighters and bombers, most of the tactics and doctrines that would profoundly affect World War II were attempted in World War I. Now, the tank was conceived to break through barbed wire and trench fortifications and to support advancing troops with machine gun fire. Winston endorsed its development while at the Admiralty in memo at Prime Minister Asquith on the 5th of January 1915. The first experimental trials became early in 1916 in the later stages of the Battle of the Somme. At Combat in November 1917, tanks were used en masse for the first time in history. Now, when Asquith government lost power because of their conduct of the Great War, David Lloyd George formed a new coalition government. Lloyd George, a former Liberal ally of Winston's, gave him charge of all industries as Minister of Munitions. Over a storm of protests from Conservative MPs and the press who remembered the Gallipoli debacle, Churchill quickly reorganised the department and streamlined operations. The skill Winston had displayed at the Board of Trade before World War II with labour disputes enabled him to resolve several controversies without compromising war production. He also established a tank board to facilitate improvements in one of his favourite new weapons. Now, the munition office under Churchill became so effective in April 1918, Churchill was able to deliver twice as many guns and airplanes and had been lost in the recent German offensive, and replace every tank with a newer, better model. Now, in February 1917, revolutionaries overthrew the Tsar of Russia, wanted to take advantage of the resulting instability. Germany transported Lenin and 30 other Bolsheviks from Switzerland to Russia in March. Germany knew that the Bolshevik-led Russia government would cease hostilities on the Eastern Front. Their hunch paid off. In a second revolution in October, the Bolsheviks gained power in March 1918. Russia pulled out the war, signing a separate peace with Germany. Now, in the spring of 1918, now free to concentrate solely on the Western Front, Germany began 5 major assaults, hoping to end the war before the Americans, who had declared war in 1918, could arrive in sufficient numbers to affect the outcome. Early stages of the German attack looked promising. Small elite attack units broke through the lines, opening a path for infantry supported by artillery. However, Germany, weakened by years of naval blockade, did not have the resources to capitalize on its initial success. Each assault failed, leaving the Germans progressively weaker. When the Allies counterattacked, they used their own variation of German tactics. The technique was the rolling barrage. Artillery fire laid in front of the infantry, attacking a key area that had been scouted by aircraft. As the infantry advanced, the artillery fire moved forward ahead of them. The first breakthrough came for the British Fourth Army near Amiens, with an infantry attack supported by 72 tanks. The combination of technology and the tactic effectively defeated the German army, and Germany sued for peace. Armistice was agreed, and fighting ended on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Here we go. Now, for 6 months, the victorious heads of state debated settlement of the First World War and the Paris Peace Conference. They signed the main treaty on the 28th of June 1919 in the Hall of Mirrors at the Palace of Versailles in Paris. There was no delegation present. Now, with the war over, the munitions production shutting down, Lloyd George appointed Churchill to the War Office in 1919. Although Winston wanted the Admiralty as a vindication of his earlier dismissal, he accepted when the Secretary of State was Air, and added, making him Secretary of State for War and Air simultaneously. Now, Churchill faced 2 pressing issues: the demobilisation of nearly 3 million soldiers. The British troops initially sent to Russia to support the war against Germany, and then to support the Tsarist government that were now in the middle of Russia's civil war. How you doing, Hollywood? Thank you for coming, my man. Winston established a system that released soldiers based on the length of time in service, their wounds and family circumstances. The policy was widely viewed as fair and effective. Dealing with the British troops in Russia was another matter. Since the revolution in 1917 and the separate peace with Germany in 1918, the British had no consistent policy on intervention in the Russian Civil War, although they initially supported the anti-Bolshevik army. Now, Churchill's anti-Bolshevik stance was widely known. Of all tyrannies in history, the Bolshevik tyranny is the worst, the most destructive, the most degrading. Winston produced a blizzard of memos and arguments on both sides of the question, trying to get his government to adopt a policy, any policy. Churchill's enemies seized the opportunity to characterise him as unreliable, unsteady, either a warmonger or a vacillator. Now, next we had the period between the 2 wars. Churchill served simultaneously as the post-war Secretary of State of War and Secretary of State for Air from January 1919 until he became the Colonial Secretary in February 1921. The British Empire reached its zenith with the Great War, brought more territory under its control. The burden of enforcing its empire, however, further drained Britain's war-depleted resources. When support for the Liberal Party coalition collapsed, Churchill lost his seat in the general election of 1922. He was out of Parliament in 1922 and 1923, losing by-elections each year. He finally regained his seat in the general election of 1924. Winston negotiated to return to the Conservative Party, becoming Chancellor of the Exchequer, a position once held by his father. The defeat of the Conservatives in 1929 put Churchill out of power again, and the stock market crash left him out money. Winston began a period of furious writing to re-establish his political and economic fortunes. Now, obviously, during this time, what was happening as well is that there was troubles over in Ireland. So agitation for the Irish independence had been a long-standing element of British politics. The conflict was not only between the British and the Irish people themselves were divided between those who wanted an Irish republic, the nationalists, and those who wished to remain united with Britain, the Unionists. Now, the National Unionists split was further intensified by religious conflict between Catholic and Protestant, and political differences between the North and the Unionist majority, and the South with the Nationalist majority. Ireland seemed constantly to be a cauldron of warring factions on the verge of civil war. Now, the Great War brought a period of relative domestic peace, as both nationalists and unionists pledged to support the Allies. As the Ulster Division suffered over 5,500 casualties on the first day of the Battle of Somme back in Ireland, national rebels tried to provoke an insurrection on Easter Monday, 1916. The rebellion, lacking popular support, was quickly put down, but it was a sign of things to come. Now, in the general election of 1918, Sinn Féin supplanted the Nationalists as the dominant Irish party, refusing to take their seats in Westminster. They proclaimed themselves the Irish government in Dublin. When the British intervened, attacks by Irish volunteer militia precipitated a 2-year war of independence. Thank you, Donna. Now, Churchill lived in Ireland from 1876 to 1879. So between the ages of 2 and 5, where his father served as secretary to his grandfather, then the Viceroy of Ireland. He began his early life. Okay, so colonial complexities. After the Great War, the British Empire peaked with the addition of states and nations taken from the vanquished empires. Approximately 1/4 of the world's land and population fell within its influence, including holdings in Asia, Latin America, the Middle East, Africa, and Australia. Now, first as Secretary of State of War and Air, then as Colonial Secretary, Churchill was in the centre of complex and dangerous circumstances. Churchill came to the ministerial offices well prepared. Winston had travelled widely, read extensively, studied government thoroughly, and had substantial ministerial experience. He would need all of it. The two spots would tax his skill and add to his reputation was the historically explosive Ireland and the newly explosive Middle East. And Winston Churchill's options were limited by the resources of a country exhausted by war, drained of cash, saddled with loans, and reluctant to support large-scale foreign operations. Now, at the beginning of the Great War, the areas known as Iraq, Jordan, Syria, Israel, and most of Saudi Arabia were the Ottoman Empire, ruled from Turkey. When the Ottoman Empire joined the Central Powers in the war, the whole Middle East was suddenly opened as a theatre of operation. The British supported tribal revolts among the Arabs against their Ottoman rulers to hamper Ottoman action in Europe. Now, Lawrence of Arabia was the charismatic agent and romantic hero of the Desert Revolt. Fueled by British promises during the war, Arabs expected immediate independence at war's end. What they got was a French protectorate for Syria and British protectorate for the rest under a League of Nations mandate. By 1920, Arabs in Mesopotamia, as Iraq was then called, revolted against the British by assassinating local officials. The difficult and complex process of breaking up the Ottoman Empire and determining new borders was just getting started. Areas under mandate contained multi-tribal and ethnical groups and multiple religions. The victorious powers of Europe tried to deal with the Middle East by organising European-style nation-states and installing strong local tribal families as rulers. In 1917, the Balfour Declaration pledged Britain to support the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, setting another enduring dynamic of Middle East politics. Here we go. I'm just going to stop there for a sec. Right, Joe, let's have a look. He was MP for Woodford, loved West Ham, and a glass of brandy. Now, in the space of only a few years, Churchill had to deal with Ireland, the Middle East, from two different cabinet posts. As Secretary of State of War and Secretary of State of Air, he was responsible for military matters, and as the Colonial Secretary, he was responsible for political affairs. Churchill welcomed the transfer from the war to the Colonial Office because he felt there were no more military solutions to either Ireland or Iraq. Now, Churchill came to the War Office in the middle of the Irish War of Independence, and by 1920, the overt rebellion and breakaway faction had been suppressed by the militaries, reformed the Irish Republican Army, and began a guerrilla campaign that would last for decades. The violence led Britain to establish a counter-insurgency force consisting of demobilised British soldiers called the Black and Tans, referring to the mixing of civilian and military uniform. These troops came under Churchill's responsibility, as did the creation of the Ulster Special Constabulary for Northern Ireland. Churchill's oversight of attempts to suppress Irish violence included reprisal killings for the deaths of British forces, making him a target for assassination by Sinn Féin. As violence and reprisal on both sides escalated, Churchill called for an end to the violence with a truce and negotiations. His call on deaf ears, he was reduced to supplying arms and men for a policy suppression for which he could not see in sight. Now, the Irish situation had reached the critical conjuncture in 1921 when Churchill entered the Colonial Office. In 1920, the British Parliament had passed the Government of Ireland Act partitioning the country into Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. It satisfied neither side. Now, the North got more independence than its majority and the South got less independence than its majority demanded. Sinn Féin continued to employ violence as a means to achieve a united Ireland. So in 1921, Churchill took charge of the negotiations that led to the treaty whereby the South became independent of the North, retained its connections with Britain. Now, Winston was so effective and articulate on the issue of Parliament that he asked to negotiate the subsequent legislation creating the Irish Free State, which passed in February 1922. Churchill's accomplishment was astonishing, given the depth of passion surrounding the issue on all sides. His great diplomatic achievement received wide praise. However, his enemies never forgave him for losing Ireland. A partition of Ireland would be one more compromise that utterly failed to satisfy his opponents, who referred to violence to accommodation. Within 6 months, Michael Collins, Churchill's Irish partner in the negotiations, was assassinated, and the Irish struggle continued. Yeah, no, absolutely. So now, after 3 losses left him out of Parliament for 2 years, Winston looked to rejoin the Conservative Party again. However, the Conservatives were not pleased with Winston. Some still carried a grudge over his earlier defection. The Irish Treaty was a repugnant to many, and Winston had not renounced many of his liberal sympathies. Now, Churchill's return to the Conservatives was less dramatic than his crossing the floor in 1904, but it was more of a delicate manoeuvre. Churchill argued that there was no gulf of principle between Liberals and Conservatives, at least not compared with the Labour alternative. He even tried unsuccessfully to pull off a Liberal-Conservative fusion. Ultimately, good hard bargaining prevailed, Whatever the level of resentment and the rank file party members felt, Churchill was too good for politician ministers to be left out. Winston was slated to run for a safe Conservative seat and was appointed Chancellor of the Exchequer before he officially joined the Conservative Party. Now, Churchill's energy and productivity as a writer was astonishing, and his years, as his years out of power, 1929 through to 1939, were among his most prolific. He set himself a goal of 1,000 words a day. Winston managed this prodigious output by hiring assistants and stenographers and by dictating his drafts. He often worked late into the night for full days of activity. Churchill's first major project was a 5-volume history of the Great War. Now, The World's Crisis, it was called. It was published around 1923. He followed with a 4-volume history of his ancestors, the Marlboroughs, his life and times for whom Benham Palace, Winston's birthplace, was built. He wrote most of the 4-volume, A History of the English-Speaking Peoples, but was not able to edit and publish it until after World War II. Now, the gathering storm. From his backbench seat in Parliament, Churchill badgered, "Germany is arming. She is rapidly arming, and no one will stop her." But Winston was seen as an alarmist distraction by the coalition of Labour, Liberal and Conservative parties, focused preliminarily on domestic issues. Now, the coalition party agreed that economic problems endangered by the Great British Depression were Britain's greatest threat, and disarmament was the way to peace. It was difficult for anyone to face the prospect of another war after 1 million British and Empire deaths in the Great War less than 20 years earlier. Hello, Marta. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. But Churchill would not be silenced. In a barrage of speeches, broadcasting and articles, he raised public awareness of Germany's rearmament and Britain's lack of preparedness. Now, the devastation of the Great War created widespread social, economic and political distress in all countries. While the victorious powers struggled, Germany was in acute suffering. In November 1918, the last month of the war, a revolution in Germany resulted in the establishment of the Weimar Republic, named after the city in which the new government was formed. But political factionalism and runaway inflation shadowed its every move. In 1922, a loaf of bread cost 163 marks. By September 1923, a loaf cost 1.5 million marks. And in November 1923, the price was 200 million marks. Now, the United States and Britain helped stabilise the German economy with massive loans in 1924 and again in 1929. Now, the stock market collapsed that year, however, threw all the world's economies into the Great Depression, taking Germany to new depths. Radical political movements gained ground as democratic governments seemed incapable of finding solutions to grievous and worldwide problems. To the east, revolutionary communist Russian suggests one answer. In the west, fascism came to power, first in Italy in 1922 with Mussolini. Each capitalized on the economic hardship of their people and promised a new path. Adolf Hitler, a wounded, decorated soldier in World War I, became politically active in its aftermath. Despising the Weimar Republic as a symbol of Germany's defeat, Hitler joined the German Workers' Party in 1919, and by 1921 his gifts as a charismatic speaker and his attractive ideology propelled him to the leadership of what would become the Nazi Party. Okay, right. Here we go. Just want to go on full screen. Now, stop sharing screen. Right, here we go. As I said there, Adolf Hitler established a Nazi party in 1925, intent on using democratic means to achieve power. Resentment of the Versailles Treaty, the Great Depression, mass unemployment, national pride brought increasing numbers of Germans to his cause as he lashed out at capitalists, communists, and Jews while never achieving a majority in the German parliament. Now, with the support of the conservatives who feared Bolshevism, the German people elected Hitler Chancellor of Germany in 1933. Later that year, a mysterious fire burned at the Reichstag building. Hitler proposed, and the Reichstag adopted an enabling bill giving Hitler dictatorial powers. Hitler was now the sole leader, the Führer of Germany. Hitler abolished the trade unions and banned all political parties, sending their leaders to concentration camps. And by the end of 1933, Hitler's camps held over 150,000 political prisoners. And he then began to round up beggars, prostitutes, homosexuals, and alcoholics. It was only in the beginning of purges and pogroms in 1934, the night of the Long Knives, Hitler ordered the murder of 200 persons who had helped him to power, but they were now seen as threats. The Nuremberg Law of Citizenship and Race of 1935, reflecting the Nazi ideology of the master race, denied German citizenship to Jews and made it illegal for them to marry Aryans. Now, November the 9th and 10th, 1938, saw over 7,500 Jewish shops destroyed and 400 synagogues burned. Now, the intervention of the German forces on the side of the fascists in the Spanish Civil War gave notice to the world of Germany's new military power and the tactics it was prepared to employ. Britain looked on, hesitant and distracted by her own domestic problems. Some thought Germany had legitimate grievances. Others thought a rearmed Germany might counter Russia. Some admire Hitler's improving economy and work programs. At first, Churchill hoped that Hitler might prove good for Germany and Europe, but he quickly concluded otherwise. Germany fears no one. She is arming in a manner which has never been seen in German history. She is led by a handful of triumphant desperados. Now, while Hitler campaigned for rearmament of the powers of victorious of the Great War, practiced disarmament. Germany watched with amusement as others sought peace by reducing their armed forces. Churchill's experience of the Ministry of Munitions and his understanding of aviation importance in warfare made him acutely sensitive to the emerging German Air Force. Forbidden by the Versailles Treaty, contacts at home and abroad fed him information that he used to attack his government's policies. Now, Churchill argued that by the end of 1936, the German Air Force would be 50% stronger than the RAF, and by 1937, nearly double, in addition to the demanding emergency acceleration of aircraft production. Churchill asked for researchers into anti-aircraft defence. It's no exaggeration to suppose then that a week or 10 days of intense bombing upon London would leave 30 or 40,000 people dead or maimed. Churchill also proposed a Ministry of Supply to prepare Britain's industry for wartime production. But beset with the problem of unemployment and the depression, the government could not imagine placing Britain's industry on a wartime footing, much less how to pay for it. Churchill called 1934 and 1935 the locust years, because time which should have been spent preparing to face Germany was fruitlessly eaten up. Churchill described the government's position as decided only to be undecided, resolved to be irresolute, adamant for drift, solid for fluidity, all-powerful to be impotent. Now, here we go. I'm going to go to the finest hour. Now, The world's most enduring image of Winston Churchill is that of Britain's wartime leader. Determined scowl, Homburg hat, ever-present cigar, and the V for victory sign. Churchill was 65 years old in May 1940, yet his energy exhausted age half of his age. From bombed out London streets to far-flung battlefields to the capitals of Moscow and Washington, he seemed to be everywhere. He was Churchill's words of encouragement, challenge, and inspiration seemed just right for the occasion. When Churchill became Prime Minister at Britain's most desperate hour, he remarked, "I felt as if all my life I had been but for a preparation for this hour, and for this trial it was." So I'm just going to...
We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
we go. So within a month of Churchill becoming Prime Minister in May 1940, most of Europe, from Poland to France, had fallen to Nazi domination. Russia had signed a non-aggressive treaty, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, with Germany 1939. Italy had declared war on Britain. In June 1940, the United States continued to sit on the sidelines. Japan was about to join forces with Germany and the Axis of powers. The British Empire countries of Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and later South Africa followed Britain in declaring war, but could provide minimal immediate support. Hitler's armies were looking at Britain as their next target. Before Hitler could invade Britain itself, he had to knock out the Royal Air Force. Now, from June through the fall, a massive air battle raised the skies over England as the Luftwaffe bombed air bases and civilian targets. The Battle of Britain peaked on September 15th, 1940. At its height, Churchill asked Air Vice Marshal Park, "What other reserves have we?" Park replied, "There are none." 2 days later, Hitler cancelled the invasion of Britain. The Battle of Britain was won. Now, on the 31st of August, Hitler ordered bombers to attack London rather than the airfields. German aircraft had earlier bombed London by mistake. When Churchill ordered a retaliation raid on Berlin, Hitler responded in kind. The diversion allowed RAF to rebuild its strength. In a sense, the Blitz saved the RAF and Britain itself. Britain survived 1940 and the war from the skies, but at sea, German submarines had sunk 567 merchant ships, carrying over 2 million gross tons of vital supplies. Britain was losing the battle at sea despite the 50 aging World War I era destroyers the United States had provided in exchange for land to establish air and naval bases on 7 British possessions in the Caribbean and Newfoundland. Italy's invasion of Greece in October 1940 was keeping a large number of Italian troops occupied and brought Britain an ally, but victory was nowhere in sight. So 1941. Now that was a desperate scramble. Britain had thwarted Hitler's invasion plan, but its retaliation was confined to a small bomber command force limited to nighttime raids. The Nazi forces continued their march. Germany defeated the British in Greece, and Yugoslavia surrendered. Initial British victories in North Africa against the Italians were reversed by the arrival of German forces under Rommel, the Desert Fox. Now, in Asia, Japan pressed further into China, occupied the French Indochina, which is what we now know as Vietnam, and threatened the British Crown colony of Hong Kong. Now, the one glimmer of hope, President Roosevelt signed the Lend-Lease Act, which was in March 1941. This permitted the United States to provide war material to Britain, including World War I era destroyers to combat German submarines. In 1941, Hitler astonished the world again by invading Germany's nominal ally, Russia. Turning it into an ally of Britain, Churchill, a long-time anti-communist, remarked, "If Hitler invaded hell, I would make it at least a favourable reference of the devil in the House of Commons." Britain strengthened its ties to the United States with the Atlantic Charter on the 14th of August 1941, in a meeting between Churchill and Roosevelt off the coast of Newfoundland. Now, Japan attacked the United States fleet of Pearl Harbor, as we know, on December the 7th, 1941. President Roosevelt cabled Churchill, "Today, all of us are in the same boat, and it's a ship which will not and cannot be sunk." That night, Churchill later recalled, I slept the sleep of the saved and thankful," when Germany declared war on the United States on the 11th of December 1941. Churchill's Grand Alliance was formally formed. No worries, Joe. Thank you. So I'm going to just share a couple.
5 years ago, I promised you blood, toil, tears, and sweat. And your untiring response brought us, in the end, victory over Germany.
Maybe I should come off mute. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up there because that's quite a lot of information. As I say, we're up to the Second World War. There obviously was some more information around Sir Winston Churchill. How you doing, Kid Rock? You all good, my man? No worries, Joe. Thank you for coming. And I don't really want to get into more of the controversial stuff because, as I say, a lot of it is sort of hearsay, and there was not really that much proof. They tried to discredit Winston Churchill, and here we go. Kid Rock. I'll put Kid Rock. I'll put the link in the chat. Do you want to come up and join me on the panel for a couple of minutes? Let's see if he'll join me. I'll put the link in the chat if anyone wants to come up and join me. How you doing, Magooch? You doing, my man? Good to see you. So I had to do a bit of War and Peace. Isn't it Winston Churchill, because he died in January. I wanted to cover that. There was just so much information on him. So I've decided I want to cut short of World War II, because otherwise I'm just going to tie my tongue in knots and I'm just going to bore everyone. So I want to try and liven this up a little bit and get the Churchill interaction. As I say, it's been on over an hour and 10 minutes. Here we go. How you doing, Kid Rock?
Hey James, what's going on, buddy?
All good, mate. All good, my pal. I'm just, I just wanted to do something, just to like more of a bit of a show and tell, exercise my reading, exercise my preaching, and just sort of just hold the line.
Okay, hey, question real quick, because you know how I always told you, like whenever I go on a panel, that I like to go back to see if I said anything wrong, and I heard a lot of muffling. How do I sound
No, you're
now?
good now. But bearing in mind, we were on the StreamYard when you were on that. This is, as you know, this is the restream.
Yeah, because what I think what happened was I got a new phone case, and I guess when like you know like I told you, like whenever you do a live, I mean I suggested to you go back, listen to it, and see if you made any mistakes. You know what I
Yeah,
mean, and you can critique yourself. You know what I mean, and I wanted to see if I made any mistakes or anything. And then what
yeah.
happened
No, you're
was
fine, mate. You're fine. That
I
was a
was,
good,
I was
good night.
muffled.
Live the other night. I just wanted to kind of. This one was going to be a little bit where you cover a history topic, you kind of just sort of hammering it out, and you're trying to put.
Oh yeah, right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, listen, I'm sorry. I just got when I came in, I just came in because the Bills won, and I had to run around because there's another game on. It was like another half hour or something before the second game. So
yeah,
I had to go out real quick. So that's why I kind when I said, "Hey, James in chat," I just jumped in. Okay, hold on one thing. Hey, chat. I'm sorry that I can't see
yeah.
the
I'll
Oh
shout
wait,
them out
hold
for
on,
you.
hold on. Okay,
What
I
you do?
see like I think I see something. So if I drop off, I will I'll just drop back on the link. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I see. Um. Okay. All it shows is like it says Magooch. Hello, Magooch. But okay. Um. Oh, Magooch is saying hello to everybody. Gerard. Oh, Gerard. How you doing, buddy? I haven't seen you in a while. Okay, I'm gonna check something else out. If I drop out, I'll come right back. Okay, buddy.
yeah. Cool.
Okay, now can you hear me? But a lot better than yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, a lot better than yesterday.
Okay, yeah, because I was thinking because I was muffled and I didn't. I was like, I hate that. And then you know what I mean. I did. That's why I took my phone case off. Okay, hold on 1 second. Oh no.
Donna, just try now. Try clicking the link. I can have up to 10 on this.
Okay, yeah. It's all this is showing like Don. Oh, Magooch says hello, Donna. Magooch says Gerard. Hello, Gerard. Toro. Oh, hey, hi, Toro. How you doing? And okay, I see. Okay, it's just not scrolling up and down. I mean, it's not going like moving. That's why I think Magooch says, "Oh yeah, I hope he didn't do my birthday." LOL. Oh, okay, Magooch. Okay, yeah, I guess I'm going right now. I'm gonna show you the late. Okay, Marta, Joe. Okay, hold up a second. So I'm scrolling down now. The last, like on your end, it shows Sweet Tea. Hello, James. Is that the last one?
No, my one. No, that's the first one. That's the
Oh,
first message.
okay. So I'm kind of blind still, but yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to see that. So because I like to interact with the
Yeah,
chat too. You know what I mean? That's part of the goal.
yeah,
So yeah, how you been, man?
yeah. All good, mate. All good. I mean, we did that Friday. What did I do yesterday? It was a bit bored. It's January. It's just this time of year where I don't. No one really does much. You know what I mean? I don't go
Oh,
out.
yeah, it's
I
like shitty out and everything, right? I mean, you get your stuff before the weekend. So when you're there, do whatever you want, and you don't have to go out.
Well, you guys, you had the football today, didn't you? So
Oh yeah, well see that's the thing. I was watching the Bills game. Oh my god. Hey, remember how we were talking about odds and stuff yesterday, Friday, right?
yeah,
And the over under? It was crazy because it was 27-24 Bills, right? The over under was 51. So if
Yeah.
you did over or under on that game, you lost because 27 plus 41. Oh, no, 27 plus 24 is 51. So
Yeah.
it was a penalty. So they say you just betted over or under like through if you called and made a bet. If you
Yeah.
said I take the even it didn't matter if you took the over or under. Whoever bet that lost because it was a tie. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
both points, the over under was 51. That means that this say I said I wanted I picked over. That would mean that both teams would have to score more than 51 points at the end of the
Yeah.
game. Or if you did under, it would have to be lower. It had to be 50 or lower combined score. You know what I mean? But if you tie, you lose. So if anyone just called in and said, "Hey, I want $200 on the Jaguars and the over, or whatever," right? If you called it in, what would happen is you lost because at the 50, it was 51 at the end of the game. 27 plus 41 is 51.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So whoever picked the over under on that Buffalo Jaguar game lost because
Gotcha.
it tied. Because it tied.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I want to explain to that. So okay, let me see. Toro says Winston Churchill brother was Mason. Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Kid
Okay.
Rock, would you be able to do us a favour? Just hold. Let me. I need to step away for a minute. If you could see the chat, would you able to hold it for us?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll just see what I can. Yeah, go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
Man,
Take your
thank
time.
you.
Dude.
Oh,
Hey Toro, how you doing? Hope everything's well. Um, yeah, because I don't like the chat. Like it's not like how I mean it was better than it was Friday, but I can't. But I don't know how new these are. Sweet Tea says hello to James. Hello, Sweet Tea. How you doing? Um, let's see. Joe Delamora says James. Donna's doing it. Excellent intro editing. Okay. Donna said, "Hey James." Uh, yeah, because it's not really showing me a lot of text. It's just showing me it's not like moving. But yeah. So how's everyone doing? Hey, Gerard Charcelli, how you doing? It's been a minute since I've seen you. I think you were in the chat Friday with James, but like I said, I couldn't see it. He was pulling up the messages, so basically I was blind up there. But yeah, so I'm watching the football game right now. It's 7-6 for San Francisco versus Giants. But yeah, so how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's well.
yeah.
I know Thindu was probably going crazy because the game. James? Did you? Are you able to watch the football games? Okay, he's not back yet. I thought I heard him back. Okay, but yeah, this Frisco Eagles game. Beginning of the second quarter. I don't know. I don't know what the points were on this, but I would think Philly's going to be tough at home. But Philly's going to be tough at home, even though they missed the extra point. I hate when they do that. It's like it messes up with the points. So yeah, Chad, I'm sorry if I don't see. It's not really moving, so I can't really see what's going on with
Thank you.
the chat and everything.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of still like remember like not last time, but the time before I was talking with you. Remember how I said it only showed selected text and it wouldn't move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it's doing now.
So, it's Donna says she's backstage. Sorry, Donna.
Oh,
I
oh,
did.
okay, yeah, I can't do that.
No, no, Donna. I've pinned the link to the chats. Try. Sorry about this. Try go pressing it again. 'Cause I pinned it on the chat now, so you should be able to pin it at the top.
Yeah, it was a little different from the one Friday. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But yeah, because like I said, I'm still stuck. It doesn't show me like if someone's asking me something, it's not really doing nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just showing me like maybe 10 selective text, and it's not like you know how like if someone does a couple comments or they're interacting with other people, it would move eventually. It's
Yeah.
not really doing that. It's just like stuck on 10. And it's not moving. I can just scroll up and down though.
Right, I can see Donna. I don't know why she didn't.
You hear me?
I can hear you now.
That is so
Hello.
weird that like I cannot be on screen with you at the same time. Do you have a way to change the view?
Yeah. There we
Oh,
go.
Oh,
okay. Hello, Donna. How you doing?
hey,
First time
Kid Rock,
I've
how are
spoken to you.
you?
Okay.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Well, good
Okay.
to hear you actually.
Yeah, right.
Um,
So how you doing?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much for asking, and thank you, James, for having me on. I appreciate you.
That's all right. I like your
This
avatar. You look very, very nice in that.
Yeah.
that is a very recent picture. That was 2 days ago. So
Oh, cool.
I still got it.
Nice and professional. There you go. I guarantee Cindy's going crazy because the Bills won.
Uh, if you guys are gonna talk football, I'm out.
Oh, no, you're not. Okay, yeah, I'll be quiet. You
I,
okay?
I can't talk football. I've never watched a game of NFL from start to end.
Okay,
I
Donna,
don't even understand the rules.
you have the floor. Go ahead.
Uh, you're too kind, sir. No, I only wanted to jump on here because I wanted to say something that I've noticed this about James, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but not only are your these information sessions so incredibly interesting, your editing skills are just starting to pop, and I am so impressed. And I wanted to make that comment, and then I don't know who HVN6666 is, but anyway, I'm like that dog on the movie Up when they see a squirrel. Sorry. I
Uh,
wanted I wanted to say that I am trying something new as well this week, James, and I'm asking everyone, including your followers and listeners and Kid Rock, if you don't mind. My channel is I've got a series of shorts coming out every day this week prior to my main show, which airs on Thursday. It's going to be at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and then God only knows what time that is, James's time. It'll be well into the evening, early morning
oh
hours, I'm
yeah, I think it's
sure.
like 5 hours ahead of us.
If it's 7 p.m. Eastern time, it'll be midnight for me.
Okay, well then maybe you'll catch it on the replay. But
Uh,
I've discovered that I'm pretty darn good at editing, and I'm kind of tooting my own horn a little bit because this has been such a learning curve for me. Just first of all, embracing the technology, and then Magooch, I was behind the curtain for a while. You are so funny. And Magooch was just sharing something pretty interesting in your comments. I don't even know if you saw that, but I won't air his dirty laundry. I'll let him do that. But I wanted you guys to just give me your feedback. I got new equipment. I have a new gimbal. I'm recording differently. I'm editing differently, and this week is kind of like a flagship for me. So
yeah.
I hope that you guys will take a moment. And every short that I create is going to come out at 9:30 Pacific time, 12:30 East Coast time, so you
Yeah.
can plan accordingly. And I want you guys, and don't hold back, please.
Okay,
I
first
don't
thing,
get better
Donna.
if you don't get truthful, right?
Oh yeah, constructive criticism is a good thing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Okay, now question: your channel is Donna's doing it.
correct. It's the same as my name.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah. Like I said,
All
that's
right.
what me and James, I like a long time ago, um, me and him were on and I was like because he knows the tech part, but like the talking, like I mean he's a lot better now. But you know how like some people are shy? I mean, I was the same way when I first started. I mean, I don't have a channel, but when I go on lives, I was like, like the stage fright. You know what I mean? But he's all good. He's got really good, and he's really tech savvy. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know, and that's the part that I wanted to highlight because Magooch, thank you so much. That is such a sweet
Yes,
comment. I'm
we got Sven in the chat. He's thank you for coming, Sven. He's in Denmark, so he's like an hour ahead of me. So
Oh, I've been wanting to tell Sven this for a very long time. Sven, in Denmark. My ancestry, my heritage comes from Copenhagen, and my the four greats grandfather stowed away on a ship from Copenhagen into New York City. And that is how my lineage came into being. So I
Oh,
just
wow.
wanted to share that with Sven because I always see him and I always feel this kinship, but I've never really been able to tell him anything, because I'm never on in that capacity. So I just wanted to share that with you, Sven.
Oh, so how'd you know that? I mean, did you like ancestry.com and stuff like that?
No, actually, thank you so much, Magooch. I think that time, well, Magooch, I was sort of forced into it. The time change, Magooch is commenting about my new time slot on Thursday. I know I've been kind of fluctuating around with, it was 7:30, then it was 6 o'clock, and now it's 7 p.m. Well, my job, I'm pretty sure my job is about to change. One of my very good friends that used to work with me, we spoke this weekend. He said, pack your bags, you're leaving that place and you're going to a new location. And I'm like, okay. And that time that's going to change the time a little bit for me because I'll get off of work later. So
Oh,
um
okay.
and then the reason I know about the Copenhagen stuff is my dad, who passed away from cancer many years ago.
Oh,
We
sorry.
sat Thank you. We sat down one time and I didn't have any way to videotape it, but he and I just talked. And I have in my family is very talented as far as art and singing goes. I have artists on the side of my dad's side of the family, and then I have singers on my mom's side of the family. And my dad started telling me about this great grandfather that came over from Copenhagen. And so then when I got pregnant with my son, I went ahead and had all a DNA history thing done. This was way
Oh,
back in the
okay.
day. And they told me, they said, yeah, you're Danish. I am 98% Danish. So go figure that one out. But
Okay.
yeah, so it was an interesting journey to discover all of that. And I absolutely love those roots. And I'm telling you, that's on my bucket list. Denmark is on my bucket list. So,
Yeah, when I was a little boy, my grandfather told me, he was born in 1903, and he told me we got here like in the 1880s or something like that from Ireland.
mm,
So he was obviously born here. He was born in Cleveland. But I mean, but then I think obviously his mom and dad, my great grandmother, or no, my great grandmother and grandfather would have came from Ireland. And when they came
my
here, then they had my grandfather in 1903, and we're here now.
excellent. My
I mean, that's a
dad,
story. You don't have a, like documentation or stuff like you have. I'm just saying what my grandfather told me.
yeah, I mean, at first it was just, my dad's stories. And then I was like, well, let me look into this since I'm having a boy. And, it's very interesting. My son has a lot of the traits of the Hanson family, the Hanson side. Super tall, blue eyes, light colored hair, very light complexion.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it trickled down through the family, which is amazing. I'm just incredibly proud of that fact. And I know we're all very proud of our heritage. And so I just wanted to share that. What is that sparkle? I'm
Yeah,
seeing
no, I see
sparkles
that.
on my screen. What the heck is happening right now?
Sorry, that's me. I'm just messing around with the graphics.
Okay, Donna, I got a question now. Like
Go
before
ahead.
you did the lineage, what did you tell like your friends? Like if your friends asked you what were you? Like you know what I mean? Like I would
I
say I was half
always,
Irish. Yeah, go ahead.
people always said I was Swedish because I had the blonde hair and the blue eyes. And so I got to just rolled with that for a while. And I
Oh, okay.
always, and then on my mom's side of the family, my mom's got a lot of Polish people in her family. And her last name is Dezurik, her maiden name was. And so, there was that whole history. But all
Okay.
of my features and like the thickness of my hair, that comes from my dad, straight up from my dad. That doesn't come from my mom. And
Oh, okay.
all of my features, the nose, which my son has my nose, it's so funny. All of that comes from my dad's side of the family. It's so interesting. But
Right.
yeah, I just kind of told people I was a mutt, basically.
Yeah, yeah. That's what when I was little. Like you know how they say, "What are you? What are you?" I said half Irish, half mutt. You know what I mean?
Sven
But then
says
I
my family
then,
was started by a German that fled the German army in the 16th century. Wow, that is
um,
cool.
you see, I can't see James like we were talking. Sorry, Donna. That like the chat, it's not really like so. I'm not really up to date. Wait, it says chat.
So,
It says,
Donna, you can see all the comments, can't you?
You know what? Actually, I'm going to tell you something, kid. If you look at your phone, are you on your phone?
yeah, I'm
Are you
on my
on?
phone.
Okay. In the center of your screen at the top, you should see the three avatars of you, myself, and James, and then you'll see
Right.
below that there'll be a silhouette of two people. In the center will be a comment, a little balloon with an arrow, and then to the right is another arrow. And if you tap on the center one, that brings up all the comments on your screen on your phone.
Because my phone, like what you said, like below you, because he's in the left, I'm on the right, you're on the bottom. Below you,
Correct.
it looks like a text thing,
Yeah, that's
and
it.
that's
Tap on
what
that. That's it.
I definitely, that's what I did.
And you don't see the
And what it's
comments?
showing me is like 10 texts or 10 messages, but it's not like moving. So I can just scroll up and down. So basically, I'm stuck with 10.
Well, you're not, you're only going to see the most current message that somebody posted. For example, you'll see that HRN6666 posted some weird comment about a sire are only blessed to know everyone do whatever. Okay. And that
Okay.
comment was removed, I believe, by that same person. But then below that is Sven's comment about his family. So you're only going to
Um,
see a few comments at a time on your screen on your phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I got a new phone. It's just what you're doing. I mean, what you're telling me, like, and then to the right, it looks like a text, but it has something else. And
Yeah,
I tried,
I tapped on that. It says privately talk with the host. So I didn't even bother
yeah,
with that.
right. And then the left looks like, oh, it looks like a person. Should I hit that?
Yeah. And
Oh, okay.
well, if you tap on that, it's just going to show your link below the screen.
Oh, okay. It's not
So
going
if
to
you
show,
want,
go ahead.
no, it's okay. Listen, I don't know who this person is, but I'm going to go ahead and do my
Yeah,
exercise, my due diligence here.
yeah. Get the people out of there. Anyone on some
Sorry.
BS, they got to go. We
It's
don't do this here.
distracting. If you're going to come into James's chat, be respectful and post things that are relevant to what we're talking about. Otherwise, it becomes this weird nonsense of gibberish that nobody can really understand. I'm sorry. I
Um,
don't mean to be critical. It's not my show, but
No, you're right. Because at the end of the day, what happens is when they keep putting all the nonsense, I want to try and. Hello, Paulie. Good to see you, my man. We
hey,
want we want
Polly.
we want to be able to see the comments that of people that are talking something relevant, something we
okay.
can
Hello,
interact
Paul.
with.
How you doing, buddy? Paul and Kaiser, you're all good. Sorry, James and Donna, go ahead.
That's
No,
it.
I think we're all on the same page. I just think that um, these discourses that we have are relevant discussions about people. And today it's about our heritage, and it's about Winston Churchill, which was a fascinating story. And I am just incredibly grateful, first of all, that to know everybody that is here, not only here, James, you and Kid Rock, but also in the chat. I am just, I'm honored, literally honored that you guys are even following my channel and watching. It's kind of like watching something grow into something else, right? You
In
know,
real time.
we're seeing James's growth through his initial, James, were you the first guest on my show?
I might have been one of. I think I was one of. Yeah. I
Okay,
was,
because I would have to go way back in the day because I don't quite remember, but I know that James, yeah, very early on. I mean, we did a 5:30 a.m. show, if I remember correctly, and I was in Arkansas at the time. And again, it's just humble gratefulness that you guys are following me and being a part of the conversation. I value you guys' opinion a lot. You are good people, and I'm grateful that I know you.
no,
No,
absolutely.
Donna,
What you say, Donna?
uh,
Good. You come
like,
in positive, and
okay, okay, well,
it's
go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
that's right. And you ask questions around us. I liked doing the conversations with you because it kind of I'm not. I don't tend to focus too much inward, and I've started to do that more recently in life. I was certainly someone who was kind of. I focus inward in regards to my own interests, and I'm selfish that way. But probably more in my emotions that I don't like. I didn't really like talking about my life, or I didn't find myself interesting or anything like that. And I like it when when people pay the give me the time, give me the platform, and just that little bit of attention. And in that way as well, it helps give content. It sort of brings me out of my shell.
And you know what?
Yeah.
It's a great it's a great, it makes us, I don't even know what the right word is. It makes us more aware because we are our own worst critics, right? And
Yeah,
so when we see this through somebody else's eyes, we go, "Oh, okay, I don't suck that bad."
Well, Donna, I was telling James like a long time ago, but even like remember I was on his live Friday, and I always told him whenever I was on someone's panel, I always went back to see if I made a mistake and critique myself. And what I noticed was some of my talking was muffled because I got a new phone case. I think that's a problem because you guys hear me clear,
yeah.
clearly now.
You do have moments where you are muffled right now. So maybe that
Because I put my phone, yeah, because I took the case off and I'm like, yeah, so I gotta figure out where the speaker's at. So,
speaker,
okay,
is it an iPhone?
to Android.
Okay, well then I can't help you. Sorry.
Okay, it's fine, don't worry about it. But yeah, I'll figure that out. But no, I just figured that that was part of the problem. But what I was saying though, I always went back on my lives that I was participating in to see if I made any mistakes and critique myself. I told that to James, and that's a good thing to do. You go back to see, like with me with facts or whatever. If I was saying something, I don't want to say something that was wrong because if I did, I would go back the next time I was on a live. I would say I made a mistake. This is what this is.
You know
You know what
what?
I mean?
I try to listen, there's been a few of these shorts that I've recorded where it's been take 1, take 2, take 3, okay, take 17. Hello. And I'm trying to get it. I'm actually, again, look, I'm my own worst critic. I'm looking for perfection when I should just be looking for the message. And so I try to go back through, like in my live shows, especially, I do my own editing. And in that editing, I'm able to see and listen to myself and critique myself. And that really is the best reflection. You know, go back through and listen to what you said and then say, you know, next time do it differently. And that's
Right,
called growth. We
right.
just because
And
we're just because I'm past 60 doesn't mean I can't still grow.
no, no, but just like I was saying that with when I was on the thing with James and Thin Do Friday, that the main thing, be authentic, say like it is, be real, and the chat is the most important thing.
Absolutely. Acknowledge your chat, interact. People like to hear their name. You know, I
Right,
try to be when I go live, which is not frequent, but I do like to, especially like when my shows are playing now, I want to be in the chat during the premiere because I want to talk to people. I want people
right.
to know that I appreciate them. And you know, I look at the chat right now and we have, you know, this is like the all-star group right now. You know, we've got Tommy, we've got Polly, we've got Magooch, we've got Sven. I don't know what
See,
happened to the ladies. I
that's
don't know if
not
they're
me.
still here, but you know,
Right,
this is a cast of people that we definitely support each other and we understand each other. And we all come together with the same, I believe, the same goal.
right. And the thing, like I said, being real. Like I was telling James the other day, like he said there was 11 people in the chat. Guess what? I'd rather have 11 people that are real than 100 people that are full of it.
I'll tell you
Exactly.
what, YouTube does a really good job of policing that. If you have, and I think this is what Theme to experienced the other day, if you have thousands of followers and there's, you know, 900 of them are inactive, YouTube will remove them from your subscriber count because they're not active people. And that doesn't mean they're just not active on your channel. They're not active, period. So, you know, if you notice your subscriber count going up and down, it's because the people that have subscribed either, you know, did that, you know, erroneously or created some fake profile, whatever the situation may be. So
Right.
when you have that happen, is it shocking? Yeah. I'm praying to God it doesn't happen to me because I'm so dang close to 1,000. It's not even funny. I think today, let's see what I'm at right now. I'm at 898. So
Okay.
I'm 102 subs away from 1,000. So we're
Right.
there almost.
Yeah. I mean, people were telling me a long time ago to go do a channel, but mine would be kind of off the wall. I mean, I don't know if you heard me talk before, but James knows what's going on. I'm kind of like, my comedy is kind of a little bit crazy, but people like it. I mean, and it is. I'm authentic, and I swear something. I swear I'm not gonna BS anyone. I mean, because then I'd be lying to myself. I'd be lying to you.
See, I'm
But
Well,
kind
when I say it, though, people laugh.
my channel is has mainly put shorts up, and of Shelby is sort of she's there, but I come up and I do this just as these sort of things, just to help me and just get presenting, work on those skills, tone those skills. Like I
Yeah,
look
once you're
at today,
growing,
I find Churchill quite interesting. The only trouble is that there was a lot of information, and when you're sort of hammering it out, you get tongue tired, and then
mm,
I kind of felt myself, as much as I enjoy the history, I'm slowly, because I'm so that tongue tied, then I'm sort of boring myself, and it's kind of like, hey, I just want to turn this into a chat now. It's
but
like,
you know
yeah,
what? But that's the right thing to do. That's reading yourself and reading your audience and understanding that at some point, I got to flip this,
yeah,
and that's exactly what you should do. So you've definitely hit the nail on the head there.
yeah, you gotta keep your audience like not so much happy, but enthused to be here.
Mm.
Like I mean, that might be harsh, but I'm saying like you guys are saying like history. Then after a while, it's like, oh my god, right? Well, no, I mean, I'm not. James knows what he's doing. Okay, that's. But you gotta like if you want to keep going though, people like to interact too, and then if they ask questions, that opens up another door.
Thank you,
Right,
exactly.
James?
Polly. I see your comment. I appreciate you.
See, also as well in my work, I have to do like lots like design docs and things like that, and obviously I have to go away and look up things and read things and but improve my knowledge in my job. So doing something like this is like I find it quite hard sometimes just to pick up a book and read in silence. So I use this here where I'm kind of getting a bit of interaction, even though at times it can turn into preaching when you're doing reading. And so that is now it's nice just to bring it back a step and get it more interactive with the people in the chat.
It's a beautiful thing what you are doing and what you've created. Gentlemen, I'm going to exit stage left. I have some things I need to get done this afternoon. So I appreciate the time. And Polly, thank you for the sub. Big thumbs up to you, sir. And to
Yeah, I
everybody that's
appreciate
here, I am
it.
so greatly appreciative of you again. And I will see you guys on the next round, okay?
It was nice
Excellent.
talking
Thank
to you,
you, Donna.
John.
Thank you for coming
You
up.
have
I
a great
appreciate it.
beginning of the week, and I will check you out. Okay,
You be nice about that, Kid Rock.
hey, I'm nice, but I'm good. But yeah, sometimes though people it gets a little crazy. People
Take
know
care
me.
now,
They really
okay?
know. Tommy can tell you, but I'm me. Okay,
All righty. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Donna.
nice talking with you. Yeah.
100%
So
Gooch. Yeah, it's better when interactive with the chat. Sometimes it might be better just picking on like Tommy does, to get some bullet points, do a few little subjects, and just do a big sort of overview where you go bomb, next,
right, and like I said,
and then
remember what I
you've
told
got
you?
in between it, you're interacting, and you want people to be able to fire questions. Now,
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, if you say, like, this, say you're talking for about 5 minutes and you're doing a subject, and then you say, "Does anyone have any questions?" And they say, "What about this?" And then you could take a break from the the original thing and interact with them, and then when it slows down, then you go back to your reading,
Well,
right?
this is it as well, and it's not only that. I've picked a topic which obviously where a lot of my chat. We got Sven in here. We got, but majority there are obviously over on the like yourself in the States. So it's kind of you're kind of listening to me to find out stuff, but then it's also as well is you want to be able to ask questions about something. So if it was probably something that was more around the American history, then I'll get a lot more questions. You know, does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I mean, I know about Winston Churchill. Like, I know he was kept good spirits when Germany was bombing the shit out of you guys, and he kept it pushing and kept you guys going. And I know one thing, like after we won the war, I think he passed away within a year or something like that. Is that right?
Sorry, say that again. He passed. When did he pass away?
That's what I'm saying. I think. Did you hear what I said? I said he was the one that got you guys through your spirits, like
Yes.
because when Germany was
Yeah.
bombing you guys, and then you go, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to fight, and then I know that within a year or so afterward, we all won the war, that he passed away. Is that right?
He passed away in, I think it was 65,
Oh,
1965.
it was right after, like a year or so after the war was over, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Churchill. He had a few other controversial things that he had to deal with.
Oh, okay, I'm with that. That's fine. I mean, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
remembering from history, like from high school.
Yeah,
That,
after the war, there was things that obviously I mentioned that about Ireland, also in the Middle East, but also as well there was the breakup of India because India, Pakistan, and forget forget the other place. But anyway, it was all one. It was India, and it broke up, and there was a massive famine, and he got a lot of criticism in regards to the mistreatment. They reckon he caused the famine, but
I mean, right. And I heard stuff like he left office after the war, and then he was. I mean, everyone knows he drunk. He drank a lot, but then there were some other things going on, like you said. You know what I mean? I mean, I just put history class in high school many moons ago, James.
the problem,
Long time ago.
the problem is Churchill's seen yet again as a patriotic figure, and what
Oh
they
yeah, for sure.
and what,
He,
and what the
like I said, without him, you guys would have been done.
and what they do now, like they do with any patriotic figure in a lot of our countries in the EU, North America, Australia, New Zealand, is that they then demonise him and call him a racist because
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. That's it.
and you know
I
and you
think.
know
Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say you know what they're going with that because they want to cause divide and conquer. They don't want countries to have national spirit. They want to get
Right.
eradicated.
But like I said, I know. I mean, now, I'm gonna ask you something, and you tell me your opinion.
Go on.
That when I said before that without Winston Churchill, you guys would have been done in World War II.
Yeah, well,
Right.
because it was Neville Chamberlain who was actually in power, and he got voted out during the war, and then Churchill came in. So yeah, it was he was a
And
massive inspiration.
right, you guys were getting bombed big time. The shelters and everything, and you guys were looking bad. I mean, meaning the war, meaning that Germany was winning.
As I
And
say,
he said, "We got to fight. We got to fight. Come on, we got to fight." You know
air,
what I mean?
air power was in its infancy, like obviously attack planes and things like that. And
Right.
what always protected Britain generally was because it had the sea. You know, it was.
Right. Yeah, you guys' Navy was great. Planes, not so much.
But the thing is as well. It's like that. When you're bordering with other countries, the enemy can sweep through. You can't do that when you've got sea around you. You know.
Right.
Obviously, in today's world, it don't matter anymore because it's all missiles and so it's
Oh
kind of
yeah, you could be on a submarine. Okay, hold on. Hey, sorry, Chad, I can't see you guys. I hate this. yeah, I hate when I can't like if
Basically,
someone.
Polly said if Churchill never stepped in, we would be speaking German.
Well, no, that's what I said, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because like you guys, I mean, I know about the history, and you guys were getting bombed the shit out of, and he was like, he was saying, no, we gotta get up, we gotta fight, we gotta fight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And he kept you guys spirits up, and then you guys caught your breath, and then we helped. We came in, and then we took. You know what I mean? We changed the war. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It was,
So
as I say, he's an influential figure, and it's kind of like, like a lot of nations. I mean, obviously the US have turned a corner by getting Trump back in, but a lot of the other countries now are just sort of fallen by the wayside.
right, right.
We go,
So yeah, I can't. I mean, I guess it's a little better than it was Friday, but I can't really see the chat. So I'm gonna try something. If I
yeah,
lose you, because yeah, I hate not knowing about the chat. The chat, okay? If you don't, okay.
yeah,
So if I
yeah.
lose you, because I like to, and you know me, I like to interact. If they ask something or something, okay, hold up. Oh no, it says private, like she said. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna try this other one. No, that's not good. Cause no one wants. I don't want no one to see my beautiful hair. But no, I guess I'm lost. But anyway, yeah. Wait, it says restream message from audience with display here.
Go on, press it.
Well, okay. Let me do that. Okay, hold up. No, it's not doing. It's not letting me do. It's not letting me do nothing. Like you know how I showed you like there was like 10 messages or something like that,
Yeah,
right? And then on the bottom of the message thing, like they say that was the 10th message on the out of the 10. It says restream to message from audience will display here. See, I don't. I there's really nothing I could. It's not letting me do nothing.
German cars are the best. Mercedes, BMW,
Porsche.
Audi.
Yeah, I always want Audis though. Them are money pits, man. They always have problems. I mean, I know people that had them. They always like back in the day, like Audi 5000. That was a great car. I
Yeah,
didn't drive it, but I had friends that had a couple of those. They were nice cars, but they were like money pits if you had any problems. Um,
yeah.
like
I mean,
in
I do love Japanese cars as well because they know how to build a car.
oh yeah, right, right. Like a Toyota truck, you could beat them to
Oh,
death and they're still kicking. You know what I mean? Right. So yeah, definitely gonna go. Like I said, when I came in, I that's why I just came in because after the Bills game, I had to go out and do a couple things because there was another game coming on, and then I came back home and I said, okay, let me I wanted to see what's going on YouTube about the Bills or something, and I seen that you had a live. I said, oh shit! So I clicked on and everything.
yeah.
So
I did try and time to because my live obviously started after the Bills had finished. But is there when's the next game on then?
oh, it's on right now. It's the Frisco and San Francisco 49ers are playing the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's 13-10 Eagles with 1 minute left in the right before the halftime. Now, question, James, before I was gonna ask you, but then Donna came up
Go on.
that what's it called? You guys can't watch the football games?
Yes, I can. We can watch the games. Yeah, we watch the football games, mate. I kind of. I tell you what it is, Kid Rock. I can watch it, but I need to sit with someone who's willing
Yeah,
to
because we don't
with
know
me.
the rules and stuff. Yeah, okay, I
Yeah,
see.
and
Okay.
and would be able to tolerate me asking questions, going, "What does that mean? What does that mean? What's that?" You know?
Right, right, right. Like I said, when I was talking with Dindu and Tommy with you the other day, we used to have football like things at my
Hey,
house. Like you had
Osama.
players and stuff. And I remember I won like was Dallas when Dallas in the 70s. I remember I won like $10. We had little squares. And my grandfather put the dollar or whatever it was. I don't remember. I was like 10 years, I was like young, very young. And we
Yeah,
used to have Super Bowl parties at my grandfather's house when I was little. and they were like, the gambling and stuff. So I was like, and he put $1 in for me or whatever, and I won like $10. So I was like, wow. So I was like, I was real little when I was
Yeah.
like introduced to gambling. Like my grandfather and grandmother taught me how to play poker and pinochle and all that
I've
and
just
dominoes when I was little.
Yeah, cool. So Asada's just joined the chat. Asada, I'll pin the link if you want to pop up. If you want to welcome.
Yeah, sorry, I can't see no one. I hate this. That's why. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, it's not really. It's just showing like the 10 messages that since I was been on, James, the same 10 messages. If I scroll up or scroll down,
Right. Okay. Yes. Yes.
they're all the ones like not last time, but the time before. The same thing. Whatever messages I got when I got on the link, that's the only message I see, and it's like kind of stuck.
There we go.
So, yeah. Let me see. Okay, I'm trying to do something now. Okay.
I don't think there's anything. Yeah, they're good at engineering stuff. The Germans. Very
Oh
good.
yeah, jewelry, watches, like I think Rolex is out of Germany, right?
I think they're Swiss, to be honest.
Oh, okay, maybe yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, but yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right on that. Yeah, Swiss knows they
Cider.
know jewelry, they know boats, they know how to make a ship.
Yeah.
Sweden, stuff like that. Yeah, I know stuff like that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, even to this day, I know Sweden is one of the top ship makers in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they're number one, but they're like 2, 3, or 4. You know what I mean? In the whole world. You know what I mean? So right. So yeah, that's about it.
You got not right. There's not an option that says all chaps. Sven's saying.
Um, like on the bottom, like past. Okay, let me see. Now,
Sada, you coming? Do you want to join us?
okay, I just want to push something, and then my beautiful hair comes on, and these crazy people.
Well, just don't touch the camera button. Keep it.
No, I know. See, okay, let me see. Let me see. If I don't, I'll just hang up and I'll come back. No. Oh shit.
You still there?
Can't work.
No, he's gone. As I say, I've pinned the link at the top of the chat. So if anyone wants to jump up and join us, they can. Yeah, he's just I get it. It's frustrating. I like to do that as well when I go up in people's chat. I like to see the panel. Sorry, I like to see the chat. So if people put in a comment, I can answer. Not only that as well. Sometimes if you've got a few on the panel, it's always nice to shout people out when 2 people are really engaged in a conversation. There we go. Sweden makes fighter planes too. Yep. Yeah, that's fine, Kid Rock. Just if you you can press the link. It's on the top of the chat. I know you got dropped. I'll put you back up. You might even get the chat back. Chat working. I'll tell you what I might do, Kid Rock. I'm going to do something here. So if I do this, yeah, I'll drop it. It's all right. So I've dropped the link. Sorry. There we go. There we go. Right, Kid Rock. How you doing, my man?
Okay.
What I tell you
No,
what,
okay.
what I've done.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I pushed the wrong button and then it went crazy, so I kind of
What,
like got out of there.
What I've done, Kid Rock, just
Oh
because
yeah, I see something. No, you got the chat on the right. That's good.
I put them on the screen, so you should be able to see
Oh
them.
yeah, yeah. Future Games, you drop the link. That's yeah, me. Okay, cool. Kid Rock, stay away from the light. Hey, Polly, what's up? See, this is why I got a smile on my face. Thanks, James. Yeah, because I'm kind of blind here. You know, like I told you, like interacting. That's so great, right? Interacting with the chat is the shit,
Yeah,
right? That's for sure. Yeah. See. Okay. Cool. 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 Yeah. Hey, Paul and Kaiser, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I was kind of blind here. I hate that. You know what I mean? But that's cool. So yeah, James, yeah, you I'll definitely have to go check out your actual show because when I dropped in, like when I first came in, said, hey, that's when I got here. So I had, like I said, after the Bills game, I had to run out and do a couple things and come back because the second game was coming up.
yeah.
So yeah.
No, that's all right. Listen, there's a lot of information in there. I wouldn't expect anyone to sit all the way through that and listen to it word for word. If
Oh
people,
yeah, but I like me, like you and me, you're all good with me, and I like I don't bullshit no one. I like listening. I mean, I listen to your stuff because I like history. I want to see,
yeah,
'cause you got like you're just point on point whenever you do like history and stuff like that. You're on point and you're very tech savvy. You know what I mean? And see, but that's like interacting with the chat. That helps you give you a breather, and then you can relax a little bit. You know what I mean? And then you, like I said, you came a long way from a long time ago. I'll tell you that much. And like
yeah,
I said, as long as you grow, that's the goal. As long as you grow,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. No, thank you.
Yeah, because I'm tech savvy. I'm not even close. Yeah, I'm not good. But you know
I've
what I
just
mean?
I've just seen that comment from Magooch, where he
Okay,
mentions
hold on.
about his cousin moved to Switzerland 15 years ago, and he said his cousin will never come back. But that reminds me because everybody knows Phil Collins, the artist. He did he
Oh,
did he did the same thing as well. He said I've had enough of England, and he moved to Switzerland.
well,
So
yeah, I mean, I can see that because England. I mean, I told you about that. I like the English people. I like you, but their ways are messed up, and they're cleaning up and there's a lot of mess to clean up because you can't like I don't want to get into talking because you might get in trouble with these people. I mean, that's pathetic as it is. I can't talk to you about something, right? But the way like how they did this was just screwed up
yeah,
big time. This is my opinion. Okay, this is my opinion that yeah they messed up England, man.
yeah,
That's me. Okay, and this is my opinion. And like I said, I like the English people, but and like you having people come over, that's one thing, but you having like millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people, and they don't want to assimilate, and they're doing all their crazy stuff. Like I don't want to say that anything, but the things that they do, like, is not besides illegal. It's immoral,
yeah. Of course.
and the people look the other way. I mean, I don't want to get you because I see stuff about people getting in trouble in England, so I'm not going to talk. But we talked about this before.
Oh yeah,
I
of
mean,
course. Yeah, I know exactly what you're alluding to. So yeah, we
yeah,
can.
yeah. I mean, listen, I don't care. Like, I'll say in America, if a white person, African American, a Spanish person, a Chinese person, or an illegal alien, if they raped, raped some little kid, they should be put in prison for the rest of their life. I mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't
I
matter
mean,
who you are, where you
it's,
came from, and it doesn't matter. If you're convicted of the crime and you did it, you gotta go.
yeah.
You know,
Well, we're as I say, we're seeing it in the news across the board. Yeah, it's just it's just this is what I'm saying. That you're taking something that's incompatible with
Right,
yeah,
right. I mean, like I said, America. I'm gonna speak as America. We're a melting pot. Like you got all kinds of um what's it called? Races, creed, color, and religions and stuff. But what Biden did, let 20 million people in here unvetted, let them do whatever they want, steal all this money, and all these like people are murderers and all kinds of crazy stuff. Nah, we're not doing that. And now we're cleaning up the mess. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And this the way I see it is the UN and all like Europe, not the people, but I'm talking about the entities.
yeah,
They want America like how they are
yeah,
now. And guess what? It's not going to happen. Okay. Why do you think we got the most boop, boop, pea shooters in the world? I don't want to say that because you might get flagged, but the most pea shooters, you know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah, yeah,
You know, right. And then they, guess what? It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like if you come here, this is my thing. If you come here legally to America and you get vetted and everything, great. Welcome
yeah.
here.
Followed the
If you
process.
come
Yeah,
here acting all crazy and we owe money and then all this other crap, nah, you gotta go. I'm sorry. It is what it is. We got enough criminals and enough crazy crap going on. We don't need to import more people. That's just me. And a lot of people in America feel the same way. It's not a Trump thing or whatever thing. It's called um it's well, let me see what I would say. It's yeah, I think it's immoral what they did. They got all kinds of crazy ass people coming here. A lot of them. There's a thing that came out like a couple weeks ago, like 17,000 people, or I think it was maybe 1,700, either or. I would say 1,700 to be safe. That there were known terrorists that walked through the southern border
yeah.
that are in the United States right now. That's crazy. We can't have that. You
Yeah,
know.
100%.
Okay. Magoosh, Donna, her husband is a Swiss banker and she married her. Oh, yeah, 'cause I wasn't looking at the chat. And she married him here and they lived in NJ, New Jersey for 10 years and absolutely loved it here. Right. Like I said, hey, I don't have a problem with no one. James, I told you, this is the way I think. Don't mess with me, my family, my shit. For the most part, we'll get along.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Um, you know, so like if you mess with me and my family shit, guess what? Something's coming. I'm knocking wood, allegedly. You know what I mean? 'Cause I'm not gonna let people butcher me and my family. It ain't gonna happen.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, because Donna mentioned, Switzerland is a beautiful country. It's clean. It's got, very picturesque. So just
Oh yeah, I know. I've seen photos and videos and
and a lot, everything's like a lot of the buildings and that are all modern. Obviously, it's famous for its chocolate and its cuckoo clocks and
right.
Rolexes and all that type of stuff. Um,
Boats.
it's got it shares that part of the Alps that I believe, which is obviously with France and Italy and I can't
Yeah,
remember.
but Italy's gone down the shitter too. France, a lot of these countries, man, the people are good. The people that run it, not so much
Yeah,
because they don't really care because they got a 50-foot wall around their house. And that, you know what I mean? And they got armed guards and stuff. I mean, it's crazy.
yeah, but Switzerland, right? No one people are not gonna. First off, you wouldn't get a council house or a social house there. It's like
Oh
it's
no, I'm not talking about it. This
money
is saying
throwing through it. Sorry,
right,
flowing
right.
through it, and it's like everything's expensive. So it's not that sort of country.
Oh no, I should have said that. Sorry, James. Let me rephrase that. All the countries I mentioned, besides Sweden, I was talking about like the people are good for the most part. The entities are messed up, and I'm not saying Sweden's people are bad
Switzerland,
either.
yeah,
The entities, but they went a different route from England, Ireland, Germany, Italy, France. I mean, you can see videos. Okay, come on. it's like insanity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to rephrase that. That when I said all those countries and then I put Sweden in there, I said, wait a minute. I want to say they didn't do that. The other countries did. And then, you know what I mean? I wanted to rephrase that. So you were right. Right. That's what I meant to say. Okay.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
honestly,
no.
unfortunately for me, it's too late at night now, so it's kind of 11:15. So,
Okay. So, James, as always, a pleasure talking with you. Thank you for having me on your panel.
as
And
always, my
Sean,
friend, thank you for coming up.
no problem, James. Anytime, man. Like I said, Donna, it was nice talking with you finally. And I will check your channel out for sure. Um, Magooch, you have a good one. I can't see no more. It's only showing 4 text.
Yeah, all you'll
It
see
can't
is
slow down.
most recent. That'll
Oh,
go
okay,
on.
okay. So it's only showing show. So Paul Kaiser, Joe DeMiller. I'm just trying to remember who else was in here. Rashada, if
Okay.
you're here, you all be safe. Have a good one. Have a safe week. James, I'll catch you on the flip. Thank you again for having me on. Donna,
No
I'll check
problem
your
at all.
channel out. Everyone be safe. You be safe, James. Have a good one,
Cheers.
buddy. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Kid Rock. Cheers. Yeah, I'm going to echo what Kid Rock says. Thank you, Kid Rock, for coming up, as always. I appreciate that. And Donna, thank you as well for coming up. Sven, thank you. Paulie, thank you. Magooch, thank you. Here we go. Asada, thank you. Joe Delamora, thank you. Let's keep going. Tommy Stiggs, thank you. Let's keep going, keep going. I did say Sven. That was good to see him, which was always nice to we get someone new that comes in. Gerald Cicelli, thank you. Gina, thank you. Marta Fowler, thank you. Hollywood 210, thank you. Bambi, thank you. Toro, thank you. I might make sure I want to get everyone. And Sweetie, thank you. Well, everyone, have a great night. God bless. Enjoy the football, but I'm going to bed.